guys, welcome back. Lisa Wins is one of my subscribers, and she asked a really great question that was almost made for this channel. It was both complex or too complex for me to answer it in an email, yet simple enough to do a short video and help a lot of people. Now, this is the backstory on it. She's working on a picture, not this one. This is Hannah Calzone's Daydreams. And it just has a couple of pictures that I'm going to point things out to you in. Well, she's working on a picture that has a lot of leaves in it, but the leaves don't really overlap that much on them, and it's very flat. She doesn't know how to put the center light in. Where does she put the highlight? How does she do this? And what makes it even better is she actually listened to me and went outside and looked at leaves on a tree to get her answers from. Now, a little problem about looking at real life is sometimes it's hard to discern because it's three-dimensional and it's real life. Sometimes it's hard to see the different parts of what we can put into a picture and make more prevalent, and that's why it looks good in our minds. So I want to talk to you today about leaves, but not how to do a leaf per se, but how to go about doing leaves on a page. Now, this is not what she had. This is the group of leaves. Okay. Now, I cover this just so that you know in the intermediate class of the CMW course that I teach, I go very into detail with this. And that course is actually a beginner's course. It's not really an intermediate course because most intermediate people should be at least attempting or recognizing a lot of the lighting situations that I put in there. This is a very basic answer and a beginner's answer for you. So you have all these leaves, and we're going to look at, I have a new tripod and I'm still getting used to it, so I bounce it a little bit. It's a little more bouncy than the rest, but it can get really good angles. Let's see. I'm just getting used to it without making it fall over. Sometimes I have to put a counterweight on the back of it, or if I'm going too far down. Okay, so here you have leaves that are on top of each other. They are going to naturally shadow each other. So like say over here, this is on top of this leaf. It's automatically going to be darker because there's going to be a shadow there. This is on top of this leaf. This is automatically going to be darker. Now, I'm not worrying about so much the center lights on these type of leaves because they're covered by other leaves. So she was very worried about not getting her center lights in the right places. So all of this that you're coloring in on this would be shadow. There would be no way that there would be a center light on it or in that place. So she wants to know how you make the light going across. And what I saw in her picture was a lot of them look the same. Every leaf you do should be different. And you really can't screw it up visual-wise because things, when you're doing a bush or something like this, you really can't tell what would be casting a shadow because it's all kind of smushed together. So it's very hard to really screw it up. Now, say in the case of this, okay, right there would be where the light hits it, right in this area. It's higher than here. This would all be darker. You would have your your highlight, well, it's not really a highlight, your center light right there. On this leaf, you're looking, well, where's the top point? That would probably be right around here. But it actually In this case, right there, could be down here. And why I'm saying that is because if this leaf was bent, like, well, it would be kind of bent like that, this would all be dark. And you would have your lightest point right there. So you can go, depending on how you want to do it, you can do it in different ways. But every leaf is different. And that's what makes doing leaves a lot of fun and a good learning experience when you're trying to figure out lighting, is that you do and will get a lot of experience just from one picture picking out where your lights are going to be. It also depends on which direction the light would be coming from. If it's coming from over here, your lights would be in a different place than over there. Now you have to look at texture. Are leaves really that shiny? Most of the time, the answer is going to be no. I mean, there are species out there where you do have a very high shine. So doing a very big, bright, heavy highlight on each leaf is really not that necessary. Just a slight shading of your color from using your analog, and you can get that right out of the Starjoy set. When you look at your numbers, if they're next to each other, it's going to be analog. They're going to look good together. So I hope that helps a little bit and explain. On my other channel, I did a lesson the other day about implied detail. Remember, art has a lot of that, depending on the distance of your tree. Now, this is obviously a birdhouse, but even the birdhouse, in comparison to the leaf, the perspective is off. If you had a leaf, a plant that was growing leaves this size and just a couple of inches over this size, that is an enormous difference. So the perspective-wise on Hannah's books are a little bit off, and that's like what makes it kind of fun, is it's quirky. So this is definitely not a dig on her, it's her style, and so it can be fun. And if you can imagine, there's a bird on the other side. Could you imagine this bird coming up against the house, the birdhouse? This birdhouse being that big and the bird being bigger than that? This thing is a hawk in comparison, when it's just a little, has the beak of a sparrow or the head of a sparrow. So, I mean, that's the fun of this book. It's not serious. It's fun. Now, on the next page, it was a little bit closer to what she had her pictures like. You see how there is very little perspective detail in this? Everything is really very flat. You have this one overlapping a little bit on this one, but not so much that there would be a heavy... they're not like intertwined. They're just kind of flat. That's another perspective thing that some coloring books do. In her case, she had different objects with different leaves, all in a very small space, but they were flat. So, I mean, there was oak leaves and this type of leaf that I was working on before. She had like these type of leaves, not exactly the same, and with the oak leaf. And so at that point, she's never going to get a realistic look on the page. She's just going to go for the fun of it and the enjoyment. When I was first starting with coloring books, I progressed with my artistic abilities by just concentrating on small objects. In a lot of Hannah's books and some of the other ones that are like her books, they seem to have clusters of different objects, as if it was drawn on different pages and then kind of put together all in one page. And that's pretty common in the coloring book world. Perspective laws just go out the window. So you got to take that into consideration when deciding your style and what would be shadowing what. Just have fun. Keep those rules in your mind. What goes behind is dark, what goes in front is light. Whatever's the tallest gets your center light, and then every single leaf is different. And with that, I will see you in our next video. Take care. Bye-bye.